Hi, so I'm going to talk to you about my fails. There's a lot of them, but okay, so this is one of my fails so far. I like this. I like this baskets. I'm sorry about the background noise, but my neighbors next door are watching cartoons, and I lined them up with paper towels. I really should have lined them up with newspaper or a heavier paper because the paper towels were too thin, and when I watered it yesterday, the dirt came out. Now I do plan on putting more dirt, so I'm going to have to take these rosettes out and line them up with newspaper, a heavier paper. They'll still be able to breathe and drain well, but without the dirt spilling out. So that's one of my fails. Another one of my fails was using cat litter instead of perlite. Perlite, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's very lightweight. Kitty litter or cat litter is not lightweight at all. It's more like cement, and it's going to build up and dry up like cement. So what my succulents were doing here, and I took them out already, and I'm going to place them elsewhere because they did not completely die on me, was that I took them out, they were just floating above, so when I would water it, it would just get water from above, but there wasn't any new growth, there wasn't anything prospering from it. So that's another one of my fails. Do not use cat litter thinking it's going to work the same as perlite or sand. And if you do mix it up with sand, you're only going to create more of a cement effect. So I actually read using cat litter in a blog, and they said that it worked nicely, and another person said it didn't. I gave it a try, and no, it does not work nicely. And then I think her name is Laura Eubanks from Design from Serenity. If you're not subscribed yet to her channel, go ahead. I love her videos, and she talked about a jacaranda and not placing cactuses underneath it. I couldn't agree with her more. Look at the way that the jacaranda, look at the way they stick to them. And this is actually two fails in one, because I placed this succulent. Well, it is a succulent. A cactus is a succulent. I placed this one, and if you want to know the name, is Cactus glossicens. My goodness. I placed it here in this flower shifter, thinking that it was going to look cute. This rusted, which I don't mind, is very rustic looking, but it doesn't grow much. And then when I bought it, it had blooms. It hasn't bloomed ever since I placed it here, so I have to place it in a better pot. And to be honest, there's no better pots than having them in terracotta. I've noticed that they drain better and they breathe better when I place them in a terracotta pot versus any other pot. Plastic pots are okay. Let me look around, and I'll show you another one of my fails. You see, this cholla plant is also having not such a good time underneath this jacaranda tree. I was gonna call it a bush, a jacaranda tree. See how dirty it looks because of the leaves just falling and just sticking to the needles. Okay, I seriously need to repot all my succulents to see on top of this, but this is one of the other fails. I probably potted this up about, my goodness, give it a good 2 years. And look, it's rusted point where it's falling apart. So if you want the look of metal corroding and you think it's cute and rustic, it does look cute and rustic, but it's eventually gonna fall apart. Here, this one you can take it as a win or a fail. Here you see a container. My mom placed succulents and some leaves, hoping that they would grow some babies. You can see the leaves there. And she placed it in compost dirt. In compost dirt, you never know what you're gonna get. So you see some herbs here growing out. You see some clovers growing out, and some of this wandering Jew growing out. So I mean, you can take it however you want. It might be a fail if you only want succulents. It might be a win if you want other plants growing out, but you never know what you're gonna get if you use compost. And the last fail I'm gonna talk about is placing tender leaves or cuttings underneath direct sunlight. These ones probably get around 2 to 3 hours of sunlight. The older ones don't have any burn marks on them, but these new ones are getting scorched. So if you have any babies, if you have any cuttings, any leaves, I wouldn't advise you to place them so close to the sun or underneath the sun for too long. Anyway, that was all my fails. I hope you learned from them, or I hope I learned from them. Have a good one and good night.